people have been saying that Deno 2 truly is going to be like the end-all, be-all. Type 1 in the chat if you think Deno 2 is actually going to change the game of Node, or is it going to continue to be just more what it has already been? It's pretty surprising. Not a lot of people think there's going to be a big game change here. I'm actually surprised by that. I figured there'd be something, right? We've been planning a major new version of Deno for years. Many times it seemed imminent, but we realized the features we wanted required more work, and now it's finally happening. Last month, we released the final 1x version with 146, and today we're cutting the release candidate for Deno 2.0, which includes everything we expect in the final release. This is the largest update since 1.0, with major changes, like the introduction of Node's Process Global. Okay, see, again, this is where I think it's just so interesting, which is this is Deno trying to be more like Node as opposed to Deno doing its own thing and Node becoming more like Deno. And so it's almost, I always have this kind of general perception as where if the competition's trying to be more like you, you're the winner. And so now what they're doing is saying, hey, it's easier for you to switch from Node to Deno. I have to ask why? Why? What makes it better? What makes this so much better? Is it just really compilation time? Is that really it? It's the story of front-end frameworks. Exactly. This is just a story that happens over and over again. Like, what's it called? Amazon Prime, HBO Max, Netflix. At this point, they look so similar. Besides for like variation of background color, it's really actually hard to tell, especially HBO Max. If you ever go on HBO Max, it's like a 1-for-1 of Netflix. It just looks like somebody just, it looks like someone just 1-for-1 copied it. We literally need the Node rewrite without the legacy bullshit. Yeah, exactly. Node 2 would be really good. We've also made some philosophical shifts, like preferring Deno install over the now deprecated Deno cache. Read on for the full list of changes. Okay, so what is it? Upgrade RC. If you're using an alternative distribution method like Homebrew, Deno upgrade might not be available. Follow the instructions, okay? Deno 2, changes to global variable, dependency management, permissions, API, CLI, import. Okay, there's a lot of stuff. Let's go over each one of these. Node 2. Changes to global variables. Deno 2 comes with 2 major changes to global variables. All right, let's go. Window is gone, and Node's process is now available. Oh, interesting. So Deno actually went with the window global variable? That's kind of a strange world to go with, a window global variable. Just like, in principle, you're building something that is intentionally supposed to run on servers. So why include something that looks like the browser? Let's see, we introduced the window global in Deno 1.0, the global being made to Deno as browser compatible as possible. See, yeah, I mean, that just seems like a strange move. Why become browser compatible? Like, you should just not be browser compatible, right? If you want code that runs both in browsers and on the server, then you just have to write it in that agnostic way. Having all this like polyfilling these globals and using it just seems kind of crazy, right? Unfortunately, the window global variable becomes a source of problems for users. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, right? Yeah, absolutely. Stay in your lane, Deno. No, it is true. Just stay in your lane. Like, you're a server thing. Just be a server, right? If somebody wants browser behavior so they can write this agnostic code, then let them implement the window and decide how they want to take care of it. Because it just seems like, what do you do when someone says, like, query selector? It just feels confusing. It feels confusing that, like, how do you deal with that? I think you just create a whole world of problems. A little worried about that, but I'm glad. It sounds like Deno 2, good move. Deno 2, good move. Many libraries check if they are executed in the browser by probing for the window global variable instead of checking for the existence of DOM. Oh, that's hilarious. I never even thought about that. That means there's all these libraries that behave like they're in the window or in the browser, and they get just effed up. This leads to a class of bugs in libraries that would otherwise work in Deno due to the window being globally available. Yeah, Deno started to discourage the use of window global in 140, suggesting use of global this instead of or self instead. That seems like it perfectly makes sense. Does Deno have document create element? I think it does. I would assume that the window has document create element because that's like a part of it, but what does it create? That's like the confusing part about having isomorphic code, is that isomorphic code has just these weird undefined behavior, right? In contrast, the process global has been widely requested. While it has been possible to use process by importing it from Node process module for a long time, many popular frameworks rely on the precedence of global scope, often used in configuration files. It just also makes sense, right? It just makes sense. If you're building a server-side thing, you kind of want this process, this OS level stuff. Although adding import process from Node process seems simple, it often causes friction for users of popular frameworks that would otherwise work seamlessly in Deno. With the addition of process global, you can expect a lot more code originally written for Node.js to work with no changes in Deno. However, we still encourage users to prefer explicit imports. Thus, a new no process global lint rule was added and will provide hints and quick fixes in your editor to use an import statement instead. Okay. All this because some nerd wanted JavaScript on the server. Absolutely. Absolutely true. The dependency management. Deno 2 comes with several new features that improve dependency management. Deno add subcommand now handles specific or specifiers with subpath. Okay. JSR standard testing at 102. Okay, so this... Oh, is this saying that... Oh, okay, I see what it's saying. So in one, you attempt to add this, and it fails. In this one, you attempt to add it, and it tells you exactly what the version it is it's adding and everything. Okay, exact same thing happened here. Format with the scope name must start with an @ symbol. There you go. Okay, I see what happened. You don't have to... It's saying that the add command now handles specifiers with the subpath. Okay, cool. Using JSR or NPM prefixes is now required when adding dependencies to avoid potential ambiguity between packages with the same names in both registries. Can somebody explain to me what is the benefit of JSR over NPM? I don't really understand why there's two repositories, but it sounds like the purpose is that you can upload TypeScript directly to JSR, right? Let's see, JSR has rules to be included into the registry as opposed to NPM with its lawless. Okay. So it just has more strict rules. It lets bundlers work better. Don't have to pre-bundle. Okay. Dude, this thing that I've always hated about NPM is that every time I do like a little library, I always have to have this like extra files item that I specifically specify under the dist folder, the ones that I actually want to distribute. And then in the actual project, I have to take them and I have to build them and I have to output them to another folder. And then, it's just like that whole... Like, here are files that aren't committed to NPM, but are the committed out to the build, which always feels a little like, that's always felt like an anti-pattern to have files that aren't included in the repo as part of your build. It just feels like that. It just feels like that's how you get. It just feels like a supply chain attack of some sort. Right? It just feels like this is such an easy way to have a set of files that you can't directly relate to the actual source code itself. With JSR, you just upload the source files. Very intuitive. Okay, that's like, okay. Then I would say this is a great iteration right here. This is a great iteration if you can just upload the source files, because I just hate this building sharing business because it always is such a pain in the ass. Shipping compiled JavaScript feels like shipping a compiled DLL. I don't like having a network of files I can't see or not editing. Yeah, exactly. Like, especially if they don't include source maps in their build, then you just have like this weird compiled JavaScript and all that. And if you're actually editing the files, you still have to edit it in the weird compiled nature of TypeScript to JavaScript. It's always just a little bit, just everything about it is a little weird. And then you can't like trace it back to the original files easily. You know what I mean? I've not watched Fireship's video about Deno. Additionally, if your project contains package.json file, Deno will prefer adding NPM dependencies to package.json rather than Deno.json. Okay. So they're fully trying to break away. Okay, and so package.json will just assume NPM. You can also add dev dependencies to package.json with dev flag. Okay. So I guess I'm a little bit confused on this. If you have a package.json, additionally, if your project contains a package.json file, Deno will prefer adding NPM dependencies to package.json rather than Deno.js. Okay, so if you have a package. I'm not going to lie to you, I don't really like this. One thing I don't like about JSR is it has this weird rule about no slow types, and it won't ship types if it doesn't pass. What's the weird types? What I mean by I don't like this is that if you want to know what your if you want to know what your library now relies on, and you're using Deno, and it also has a package.json, you have to check two separate JSONs to know what the dependencies are versus the dev dependencies are. Like, you have to actually go to both. Too many JSONs. I know. Let's see. Deno install now supports entry point flag, which allows you to install all dependencies from a given module. Interesting. Okay, having to specify what registry your dependencies are on feels weird. Again, it just feels weird to me. I understand it's the compatibility. Like, you can't complain about the compatibility of it because I understand why it's happening. It just is weird. That's it. Not knocking against it. I understand the situation that they're in. They're trying to improve everything, but they're trying to be compatible with Node. And so you get into this weird Yeah, we'll get used to it. Exactly. You'll get with it's a weird thing. Deno remove subcommand now, let's see, has been added to quickly remove some dependencies. Okay, nice. So you can just remove them. Nice. Awesome. So you can also use Deno remove to handle dependencies listed in package.json. Deno 2 ships with a new, more concise log file format that will minimize diffs when updating dependencies and ensure reproducible builds. Okay, nice. Okay. Deno will automatically migrate you to a new log file format. Nice. Finally, Deno has improved its error messaging, providing. Oh, by the way, this is good. Improving error messaging is. I always feel like when you talk about DX, people always talk about DX and they always talk about TypeScript and autocomplete as the DX of winning. I don't think that that's where the big wins come from. I always have found that finding references, going to definitions, and good error messages are like the true W when it comes to DX. Improved error messages are useless in PHP because we never have errors. True. You don't have errors. You just have things that are missing. That's all. Providing helpful hints for common issues like incorrectly formatted relative imports or missing dependencies when using bare specifier. Import this. Relative import this. It does not have a prefix with this or this. Try running. All right. Oh, try adding a Deno add JSR this. Okay. Well, that's nice. Good hint. This is a good hint. The holy trinity of DX. Yeah. I've been having this really weird kind of like emotional struggle thinking about autocompletes lately. I don't know. It's weird. If you want the PHP experience, disable your linter. I think linters are weird to begin with. How so? I find that when I have a really strong command of the API, I just think through problems better. So yeah, if that makes sense. And autocomplete, sometimes I kind of forward on my memorization or understanding of the API to the autocompleter. I'm not really sure if that's a W or not. I'm not sure if it's real, but I think it's nice currently. I'm not sure yet. But I do like jump to definition, and I do like finding references, and I do like good errors. So anyways, new Deno errors not compatible error. Deno's permission system is one of the most loved features. When a program tries to access an API that it's not allowed using allow star flags, an error is raised. In Deno v1, the error was errors permission denied. Let's see, there was one problem with that, though. All operating systems raise this error, too. For example, when your user does not have access to an admin-only file, or when you are trying to listen on a privileged port. Because of this, users were often confused to see that the error raised despite running with allow all flag. Yeah, I do think this is one strange part about Deno, is that there's like this multiple permissions level that is kind of going on. Like you have your Deno permissions that are like operating system level permissions, and then you have operating level permissions, which just feels like a weird kind of interesting world to be in. If you're like, hey, you can't read these files, but then your operating system also has, hey, you also can't read these files. It just feels like kind of like a weird place to be. In Deno 2.0, a lack of Deno permissions now raises the Deno errors not capable error instead of making it easier to discriminate between OS levels errors and Deno errors. It's essentially a backstop to ensure good practices. Yeah, that's true. Oh, wait, Deno, this one. Okay. This one would have been permission denied, requires read access to this. Deno 2, not capable, requires read access. Okay, so it's a not capable, trying to disambiguate between operating system versus Deno level errors. Okay. Interesting. Nothing ruins a good flow than fiddling with permissions. Yeah. I know every time I install Docker on a new system, I have to remember to do the whole like Docker group and add users to Docker group business. Every single time I'm like, all right, I do this once every 1.5 years. Here we go. Gonna do it again. What was the thing I had to do again? Every single time. Always forget what it is, but I just know it exists in that group and I have to do it. First mistake was Docker. Yeah, first mistake was Docker. Yeah, exactly. Permission check for Deno main module. API, which gives you a full path of the main module, has been relaxed and no longer requires allow read permissions. This also applies to the process arg v API. Okay. This requirement is deprecated, but the path to the main module can be obtained by creating an error instance and inspecting its stack trace. Okay, allow HR time. Flag is gone. That also seems weird. You are not allowed to have high resolution timing. Deno 1 had an allow HR flag that affected APIs like performance.now providing high resolution timers. In Deno 2, the flag is gone, and these APIs always provide high resolution timing. This is a strange flag. How did we get to this point of you're not allowed to have high resolution timing? Like, what? I guess what was the win to this? What's the W that I'm missing that originally existed here? Was there some sort of? Is there some huge performance loss? I think it was about Spectre. What's Spectre? Help me with Spectre. High resolution timing is very OS specific. Yeah, but that's not what it says. Timing side channel. I guess, yeah, that's the only thing I can think of is there's a CPU cache bug. Oh, with high resolution timing. Oh, wow. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Meltdown and Spectre exploit critical vulnerabilities in modern processors. These hardware vulnerabilities allow program to steal data which is currently possessed on the computer. While programs are typically not permitted to read data from other programs, a malicious program can exploit Meltdown and Spectre to get a hold of the secret stored in the memory of other running programs. This might include your password stored in a password manager or browser, your personal photos, emails, and instant messages, or even business critical documents. Does any of them have the word high res? So Spectre paper must be high res then, right? So that's what you're saying? I just want to see this. There's only one thing that says the word high resolution in it. I don't know what it is. Nice try, Diddy. I'm not even sure. I honestly don't even know what that means, to tell you the truth. Hasn't Linux recently merged some sort of kernel changes involving high-res timing? So, yeah. So, the word timing. Oh, is it because having access to high-resolution timing allows you to understand that you've made the successful, what's it called, replacement? Is that what it is? Is that because you can do this? You can, yeah, cache miss. You effectively have figured out the cache miss thing, and so therefore, by not having high resolution timing, you can't do the side channel attack. Okay. For those that don't know, yeah, that's my box art that I'd made. It's a pretty good box art. Okay, so forgive me if my explanation sucks. Okay, forgive me if my explanation sucks, but I think this should be fairly accurate. Effectively, as you execute code, there's going to be some sort of if statement, right? And then some sort of access. And this is telling, and then if you put a timer here and a timer here, you can tell if this branch has been cached. Am I doing this correct? And if it's not cached, then you know you've effectively created some sort of number in which you can use to jump off into other memory. If I remember this correctly, it's like doing some sort of basic timing cache of the CPU. Has the CPU prefetch this much stuff or has it not? Effectively, dude, it's definitely above my pay grade, right? It's definitely above my pay grade. As for, like, this is like very wild stuff. It's all about managing timing. Yeah. So the high resolution timer allows you to effectively know if you've missed cache or not. Why do we care though? We want this performance as a dev, and it's up to the hardware engineer to fix it in the future. You know, that's a very, thank you, beautiful wife. I appreciate that. That's a very complicated statement you just made there. You do have to care about it as a dev because it can be exploited and you can get stuff, you know, you can get stuff stolen. So, but just, I guess I understand the general notion behind it. It's a little more complex than that. The idea is computations done on branches are not taken can affect the state of the cache. Yes. I like I said, I don't really understand it, but I just know that it involves an if statement, if I'm not mistaken, and not taking or taking that branch causes a massive slowdown on the like nanosecond level. So good. Allow run changes. There's a few big changes for allow run flag to guide you towards safer execution of subprocesses. First, a warning will appear if you use allow run flag without specifying an allow list of binary names or path to binaries. Okay, warning. Allow run without a list of is susceptible to exploits. Okay. I don't really understand this exploit, but I think it's just because I'm too dumb about the security world to understand why this is a big problem. Then, anytime a subprocess is spawned with LD or DYLD environment variable, a full allow run permission will be required. Note that these environment variables should rarely be relied on. If you really need to use them, you should consider further sandboxing by Deno by running additional layers of protection. Docker container. All right. Oh. Yeah, but that's just saying setting a preferred list. We already knew that. Let's see. Then anytime a subprocess is spawned, we already did that. And so here you go. You can do all the specifying here. Deno run equals echo main uncaught. Allow all requires permissions to spawn subprocesses. All right. Okay, so you just cannot do that. You cannot do any of that. All right. Escape commas in file names. It is now possible to grant permissions for reading and writing files that contain commas in the file name. Nice. In Deno 1.0, a comma was used to delimit between multiple files, making it impossible to grant permissions to a file that contains a comma name. Nice. In Deno 2, this can be done by escaping a comma with another comma. Nice. They said that shit couldn't be done, yet here we are. That's funny. Can we just take a step back? If you put a comma in your file name, I think you're a bad person. Real. That's real. Okay, it's just like spaces. You put a space in the file, I think you're a bad person. And sometimes I look in the mirror and I've put a space in a file. I'm a bad person. It's more of a moral failure than it is anything else. Underscore or hyphens, exactly. I'm more of a kebab person. Some people are Pascal case, and it's really hard. You know, the hard part is once you have like a named file thing. Are we fighting today? Oh, we're fighting. The moral failures or failings of space leavers. I know. It's painful. True, but why are we escaping a comma with commas? Especially, why not the standard escape? It's a very good point. Why aren't we using the standard escape? I'm sure there's a reason that makes sense. My gut tells me this, that just a slash comma is going to lead to some sort of string operation errors. Like this isn't, oopsies, that's a semicolon. This isn't a valid escape, so you'll end up doing //j or // comma. That's my guess of why they didn't do that, is that you had to do 2 slashes to escape the backslash inside of your string specification. So just doing comma, comma probably was easier. A comma is really just a tiny j anyways. It really is just a tiny little j. It's just a tiny little j. It's because of the Windows path. Oh, Windows path? Oh, okay. Again, Windows is terrible. Can we just pretend that comma is never used in the file names, please? Yes. Again, I would say that the bigger fix is you use a comma, you lose your job. Done and done. Done and done. Oh my gosh, Lex said something. What's the reason to use Deno? Is it just for people who are bored with Node? I'm still using PHP and jQuery for web dev. In part. Oh my goodness. YouTube. In part because I use WordPress for CMS. Old school. P.S. YouTube chat stands strong. Okay. First off, appreciate. I love that, Lex, you're fighting for it. I love that you're fighting for YouTube chat. Okay. Maybe I need to do this, but so Deno, one of the big things that Deno has is it's supposed to be an unburdened node with new thoughts. And so the person who created Node also created Deno, Ryan Dahl. And so it's supposed to be him fixing up all of the problems that he made with Node. And you can even see it in the name. Node and Deno are just anagrams of each other, right? And so if you do a dot sort on Node, here, if I go like this, Node, and I go Node, can you do a sort on that? No, you can't. Split sort, you'll get Deno back. It's Node sorted out. If that makes sense. Wait, you didn't know that? Oh, wait, really? You guys didn't know this? I like that there's so many people like, wait, what? Yeah, so the whole idea is that it's supposed to say that. That's what that's why I knew JSR was supposed to be some sort of fix on NPM. I just didn't understand why. But it makes sense to not have to have separate ways you compile. So it's just trying to take all these little things. I can't believe you guys didn't know that, first off. That's crazy. And there's a bunch of people that are getting hit with ads right now. So if everybody can say, what? Oh, now that's gone. Clever. Yeah, life.sort did not work, in fact. I thought it's about dinosaurs. No, it's not about dinosaurs. So there you go. That's like the basic reasoning behind everything. As far as I can tell, it's just supposed to be better. And it uses Rust to be more quote-unquote safe, not introducing any sort of memory errors. Yeah, this. I love this. I love that this is the experience right now. And so that's there's like a whole motivation for it all. So, all right. Let's see, stable APIs. Several APIs have been stabilized. All right, web GPU is no longer required. Let's go. DL open. Another FFI APIs are no longer required. Unstable FFI flag. Nice. Create HTTP client. I guess, okay, so this probably makes sense why they have this allow, what's it called? This allow run stuff. Because if you have an FFI, you may, like, a lot of people may not realize what it's doing underneath the hood. It's a little bit harder to inspect for, I think, the average person to know what you're running. So maybe that's part of the reason why they do this, which I think does make a lot more sense. constdb, Deno, KV. All right. Let's see. OpenKV is not a function. No longer requires unstable. Oh, that's interesting. You have to do unstable HTTP flag to do create HTTP client. All right. Nice. OpenKV is an unstable API. Run again with unstable. Oh, it's the API may change. That's what it means by unstable. Okay, cool. Breaking changes to Deno APIs. The following APIs have been removed. Buffer, good. I've been saying this forever. Buffer is like the most dangerous, nonsensical API that's a holdover from Node. And here's the reason why. I'll show you this really, really simple. Are you guys ready for this? This is where it gets really, really good. Are you ready? It is not. It's not. Just watch. Watch. Const A equals new uint 8 array. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Awesome. Actually, hold on. Let's go like this. Const buff equals new array buffer. What is it? 4. Can I do this? There we go. So I have 4 bytes here. Okay. I have 4 bytes here. So if I go like this, if I go const u8 equals new uint 8 array, and I pass in my buff, I now have a new view on top of that. That means I can go u8 0 equals 69, and if I go buff, you'll see 45. Okay, awesome. If I go const u8 2 equals u8 slice, if I go u8 2 1 equals 69, and I go buff, you'll notice that it did not get changed. But my u8 2 has 2 69s. Okay, so it copies, slice copies. Now, if I go like this, if I go const, let's see, buffer equals buffer from buff. Now I have the same thing. Buffer, it has a single 69. If I go buffer 1 equals, let's go 255. Then if I go buff, you'll see that it changed it to FF. Fantastic. Buffer, it has FF. Fantastic. We see those things. Perfect. Now if I go like this, const buffer 2 equals buffer dot slice, and I go buffer 2, 2 equals, let's go 69 again. You'll see that buffer 2 has 45, FF 45, and if I go buff, it edited the underlying thing. Now you're probably saying, well, what's the big deal with that? Slice is a shallow copy versus a deep copy. Here's the reason why it's confusing. Buffer instance of uint 8 array. False. Okay. Hold on. Have they changed this? Oh, did they change this? This might be an older one. They may have changed it, but this used to return true. Oh, that's too bad. But in TypeScript, if I'm not mistaken, in TypeScript, you can go like this, uint 8 array, and pass in, you can go, in TypeScript, you can go like this, foo, and pass into foo the buff, and it will, or in the buffer, and it will be just fine with this because it's structural typing, which means that when you call slice on it, you won't realize you're calling slice in a way that's terrible. This used to return true. There was a time in life where this used to return true. Oh, whoopsies. Yeah, you're right. Oh, I totally messed that up. Here, const A equals buffer. You're right. Sorry, I just messed that up. Sorry, I messed that up here. Buffer equals new array buffer 4. I messed that up. Const buffer equals buffer from buff. And I go like this. Buffer instance of uint 8 array. There you go. True. You can see why this is confusing, right? Slicing, copying from a uint 8 array, but doing like just a pointer update to a buffer can cause 2 different behaviors on the same API call. So buffer's always been this kind of like non-standard, unique way of doing things that's a bit confusing. So there you go. That's kind of like the life that you gotta be careful of. Well, what's in the buff? You know what's in the buff. All right. By the way, I may actually have the interview coming up here soon, which I'm not happy about. I might actually have to go through an interview. All right. Buffer, close, copy, custom inspect, all these things. Okay. Following APIs have been removed. Close, copy. I wonder what close is. Is close supposed to close file handles? Pick your heap file. Additionally, FS file cannot be constructed anymore. Okay, so they removed files, so that must be some sort of FS thing. All right, interesting. A bunch of file handling, metrics, writing. Write must do a write out to a file handle. Write sync must do it, but synchronously. Write all sync. Okay. Handling of TLS options was updated, and the following options are no longer supported. Cert chain. Okay, all these cert things. Awesome. You can't just say that and not explain. Interview for a job. I might have a job coming up here, and the job is going to require me to interview. TJ, this is where we're supposed to do this, and you're not supposed to tell them. And then as a part of the startup episode 3, by the way, startup episode 3, tell me our startup episode 3 was not awesome. Or startup episode 0. Did everybody like startup episode 0? Type 1 in the chat if you enjoyed episode 0 of the startup. 2. Shut up, Warren. Buffering. By the way, it was nice having a beer with you last night. Still watching? Shut up. All right. So there's just a bunch of things that they're getting rid of. Amazing. A few APIs have been soft deprecated. Okay. Interesting. I always thought this was such a weird one. These just like serve HTTP. I don't know. It feels weird not to construct your own server and do stuff just to have a serve. It just feels like such a weird... I mean, I guess it makes sense because that way Deno can just constantly change what it is doing underneath the hood, and it's only bound by a single function. Maybe that's a good way to do it. It's like a... Anyways, just feels weird. Deno 2 removes support of 2 subcommands, a bundle. All right, this was deprecated due to a mismatched expectation of users and the actual functionality provided. Many Deno users expected a general-purpose, highly customizable bundler. However, Deno's built-in bundler was meant as a simple tool to concatenate multiple files into a single larger one for easier distribution. Okay. Okay, yes, bundlers are really hard. I also did the same thing with Bun. I thought their bundler was going to be simple, and then I realized it's very not simple. Deno Vendor was deprecated, superseded by the much easier solution of Vendor option in Deno JSON. Okay. Bundlers are such a pain. Dude, I cannot believe it is 2020. What is it? It's 2024, almost the end of 2024, and we still don't quite have like a great bundling solution. I hand-rolled my own bundling solution in 2011 using Java and Google Closure Compiler. That was 15 years ago. Several CLI flags are now deprecated. Lock right, use frozen instead. Unstable for granular, use unstable feature. Test, allow none. Test, permitted no files. Jobs. Okay, there's a bunch of new stuff. I don't think I care about the import assertions are now dead. Long live import attributes. Nice. What a weird world, honestly. Importing and this just feels so weird. This whole world feels so weird. Anyways, Node.js, just setting the type of the file you're trying to import. I'm sure there's a great reason to do this, and I'm sure a bunch of bundlers, and this probably has a lot of benefit in the front end, especially with CSS and other stuff like that. But it just feels really weird. Okay, it just feels really weird. I'm sure there's great improvements to many people's lives. I'm just saying it feels weird for me. It is good for front end. Yes, it is good for front end. Improved CommonJS support. Since the 1.0 release, Deno has prioritized ES modules as the primary module system, offering only limited support for CommonJS, though manual creation of require. Yep. Okay. We firmly believe that ES modules are the future of JavaScript. The landscape in 2024 still includes numerous libraries and projects relying on CommonJS. Yep. This is, I think, JavaScript's biggest problem is this mentality of history's now, old man. And they forgot that that most of the world is older than right at this moment. And so when they're like, ES modules are great, it's like, yeah, true. But there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of projects and libraries that rely on a previous pattern. And it's just non-trivial to upgrade. There's like all these, there's just a couple little oopsie daisies. And so just like that, we don't do CommonJS. It's just like, I hear you, but it sucks. Despite Deno's robust handling of CJS libraries over the past year, users occasionally face challenges when integrating CommonJS, particularly with their own code bases. Yes, it is just hard. You gotta roll that require in CJS. I know. It is what it is. In Deno 2, several improvements. I mean, part of it is just the defaults. Default really, if ES modules didn't have defaults, I'm pretty sure CJS and ES modules would have had a much nicer hangout, right? Like it's just that one problem, which is defaults. I'm sure there's other things, but in Deno 2, several improvements were made help working with common JS modules and make transition to ES modules easier. Run CJS. Deno now can execute common JS files. By the way, has anyone actually used CJS? Does anyone actually name their files that use CommonJS as CJS? Yes, sadly. Ugh, that's the proper answer. Maybe once. What about MJS? Whatever happened to MJS? Where is MJS? Never MJS? CJS equals cringe.js. I know, isn't this... I'm glad we all understand the pain. MJS is better, actually. I like that you just set arbitrary things you want to argue about. MJS for Angular builds. This is all just so funny that this exists, right? I just love this. I love this experience that we're all in this together. That there's TS, JS, MJS, and CJS. Imagine if Golang had 5 different extensions. I know it is just too bad. And EJS, you're right. And there's EJS. It is just too bad that this world exists. What about C, CPP, and C#? Well, C# is its own world, right? But C versus CPP. Oh, and there's also JSX and TSX. Okay, you're right. You're right. Is there MJSX? Is there MJSX? Is that a thing? CJSX? Stop it. Okay. Invent it. Now's the time, old man. Okay, that's enough file extension. Everybody, you're disabled. You're not allowed to do any more file extensions. When using this option, Deno will also not automatically install dependencies, so you'll need to manually run Deno install upfront to ensure all required dependencies are available. That sounds fair. Look at that. Just look, huck tua on that. Deno permission system is still in effect, so require calls will prompt for allow read permissions. Okay, cool. Awesome. That's probably going to lend some nightmares. Honestly, whenever I used it, whenever I allowed these allow reads, honestly, I just did like a dash capital A for allow everything with Deno. No. It exists. Just when I'm done, you'll see it. Sorry, by the way, sorry, Lex Friedman, that you're getting absolutely asked all the questions in the universe. You're just a really cool guy. I just want you to know you're a cool guy, and everyone thinks you're really cool. So when you show up in chat, you're going to get a lot of questions. Forgive them if they're bad questions. I don't know if they're good or bad or what they are. Okay. Better suggestions for errors, please. Also, everybody in here, if you could please be nice and not do ridiculous questions, that would be good. Better suggestions for errors when dealing with CommonJS modules. Okay. We're just going to skip this part because I don't think we really care. Bring your own node modules is the default. The bring your own node modules functionality was introduced in Deno 1.3.8. While we still strongly advocate to not rely on local node modules directory, a lot of existing projects and frameworks operate on the assumption that this directory will be present. Interesting. So Deno has it all in some sort of other area. It does some sort of I assume some sort of name, calculate a hash from the name plus version, and just has the global store for all modules somewhere else. Is that what it is? Is that all it is? Finally watched your Laravel talk. Yes, my Laravel talk, I'm not a good presenter. But my Laravel talk was the best I could do. That's all I could do. Make software closed source again. Is that what it is? Laravel talk was so good. I tried. I tried my hardest. But is that what Deno does? Deno just does a front for it pretty much. Deno does a folder in which it keeps all the versions, hashes them out. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, thank you. Loved your talk. Hats off. Thank you. Appreciate that. What's your take on low-code tools? They're often more difficult than anything else. Never be ashamed by doing your best. Check Signal if you want to get a chance. Genius startup episode idea. Would it be hard to pull off, but chat would freak out? Okay, we'll figure that out. We'll figure it out. TJ, okay, here. Dang it, TJ, you can't just say those words at my face and expect me not to look at it. TJ, we could get this done, but let's first get a few more episodes underneath us, see how they do. Yeah? Yeah. We have to build it. Yes, I know. We have to. Okay, good. All right, default mode. Deno main TS. Run this mode right here. Okay, or let's see. Or with a configuration file. Okay. We're going to skip all this part. Auto mode. This is all node module stuff. Okay. Node APIs compatibility. Once again, a great progress was made in terms of support for built-in Node JS APIs, resulting in even more popular packages being supported. Support MD4 digest, Cypher IV, exporting JWK, public key. Okay, there's like a whole bunch of stuff. SSH, blah, 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 events. No trace events. Nice. Let's go. Is now stubbed and won't crash. Constants, FS, all this stuff. Awesome. zlib, export missing constants. Nice. So there's a lot of stuff. And doc test with Deno test doc. Okay, cool. Doc test. That's always nice, which is also super cool. Oh, nice. Oh, crazy. What is this? JSDoc allows us to write code examples directly in the comments. Yes. There's one problem though. How do you ensure that these examples stay up to date with the code that don't code rot? Type check examples, which helps the situation, but it did not resolve it completely. The only way to ensure the examples are up to date is to actually execute them. Whoa! Oh my gosh, that's pretty cool. Okay, you know what? Node is dead. Node is dead to me. That's actually pretty cool. That is such a good idea, by the way. To be able to do this, to write an example and then have it break. Node is dead. Node died. Because that's the big thing about, this is the number one complaint of all things that have to do with code comments. That the moment you do code comments, it inherently falls apart. The moment anything's changed. Instead, now this runs. That's with Rust doc examples too. Nice. Comments non-rotted. Yeah. Awesome. I didn't know that. Great idea. This is from Rust. Cool. This is actually, it's a really cool feature. So we're executing comments now. Yes. J Diesel straight up. Tom must have been there. Tom has officially been there. That's cool. Hey, I like anything that adds that type of railing. That's cool. That's super cool. I'm very happy about that. TypeScript changes ships with TypeScript 5.6. You can read more about it in the announcing. By the way, is TypeScript still just JavaScript, or is its compiler still written in JavaScript? Are they ever going to upgrade to a language that's going to be speedy? Sorry, it's written in TypeScript. Yeah, it's too complicated to build in anything else. Is it? I feel like they use the compiler to dog food the language. That doesn't seem like a good use of dog fooding. I mean, there's been like 5 efforts to Rustify it, and they all fail. What about Golang? Too much work to rewrite? Yeah, you'd have to have an official support because TypeScript is pretty, it's not fast. There's SWC. Yeah, SWC is getting pretty far. Right? Zig TS, that'd be interesting. Zig would probably be I wonder if Zig would be good. Yeah, you really need you need it to be rewritten from Microsoft itself. Right? Okay, so you get the latest version of that. Okay, acknowledgments. We couldn't we couldn't build Deno without the help of our community, whether by answering questions in our community Discord or reporting bugs. We're incredibly grateful for your support. In particular, we'd like to thank the following people for their contributions to the Deno 2 release candidate: Andreas Deininger, Arman Salam, Bettis Nabiba. Am I saying that correct? Burke Skyam, Bob Calloway, Caleb Cox, Caleb Lloyd, Cody. Wow, there's a lot of people that helped out. Look at this. That's super cool. Hey, by the way, this is really nice. People never put names in these things. Hey, nice. What a nice way to do things. Cool. What's next? This release candidate is working towards 2.0 release, and it should be expected that there will be bugs and issues. If we encounter any, please let us know on GitHub. Awesome. That's really nice. That's really, really nice. I like that. All right. Everybody's telling me to... 1.46. Everyone is telling me that I should watch the Fireship video. Is this true? Is everyone saying that this is the one I should watch? Yes. Okay.
All the best programmers in the world love JavaScript, while all the worst programmers in the world love to hate JavaScript.
Accurate. Absolutely accurate, by the way. Nothing has been, it's perfect.
I don't understand why that is because I'm a hater myself, but today the JavaScript world just leveled up big time with the release of Deno 2. Many people thought Deno was about to go extinct after it was hit by an asteroid named Bun, but now it's back with a vengeance and provides the most polished backend JavaScript experience in the world. Not only is it now backwards compatible with Node.js and NPM, but most importantly, it's got a new logo that can dramatically improve the quality of your code. In today's video, we'll break down all
Fair on that one. I wonder, the whole Bun thing has really made things difficult. Because Deno Fresh, right? That's the service in which you can do kind of like this like serverless launching of Deno. And then you also have Bun that is also attempting, I assume they have Oven or whatever it's called, that's attempting to do their own version of serverless launching and all that. You kind of have you have a lot of problems with both of them because Bun is pretty good. I thought it was pronounced Deno. Yeah, I'm just going to call it Deno because that's what I know, and that sounds like the dinosaur. It's very
all of its new features and find
it just feels like you're competing. Right now, it feels like you're competing for second place, which is a very difficult place to be in. But I guess JSR, hopefully JSR is actually really that good and actually makes, I mean, is JSR enough for you to switch over to? And what if NPM or Node supports JSR? Or does Deno have like some sort of terms of services you can't use? You can't use JSR with it. We need Fred and Barney. We do.
out if it's finally time to take Node.js behind the barn. It is September 24th, 2024, and you're watching the Code Report.
Yes,
a lot of people make fun of JavaScript because it has multiple competing server runtimes like Node, Deno, and Bun, when really it should have 0 runtimes and only ever be used in the browser to trigger pop-up ads. But competition is good, and even languages like Python have CPython, PyPy, and RustPython, and C++ has multiple compilers like GCC and Clang. For over a decade, Node.js was the only game in town, but then one day its original creator, Ryan Dahl, realized that its shit was all f***ed up and decided to shift the letters around to create a new runtime called Deno. The killer feature on the first iteration was TypeScript support out of the box. You could create a TS file and run it with no TS-config or compile step required, but now
the first iteration, I think one of the problem with Deno is that there was definitely an issue with it, like in its initial launch, is that you had all these new APIs you had to go discover, and getting modules in, like getting third-party code in, was a pretty big pain in the butt. It was a pretty big pain in the ass, and I think that really hurt its initial launch because you had to know so much about the stuff you wanted to get, and to go find out what I wanted, I had to go look up in the Deno way to do it. It was non-trivial, to say the least. The module system killed Deno. Yeah, it was not easy.
nowadays, you can even do that in Node.js. So why didn't everybody just drop Node.js and switch to Deno 4 years ago? The problem is that it wasn't fully compatible with Node.js and NPM. Many of your favorite packages just wouldn't work. That motivated a new runtime called Bun to come out of nowhere and seize the opportunity to not only provide TypeScript support, but also NPM compatibility. Well, now Deno 2 has thrown the gauntlet down yet again by providing full backwards compatibility with Node and NPM. Like, check this out. I have a basic API written.
To be fair, they're not doing TypeScript support. As far as I can tell, Bun does not actually do TypeScript support. It just simply strips the types from the JavaScript and executes it. There's no actual TypeScript analyzer in Bun. Correct? Yeah, Deno does the same thing. Exactly. It's just type dropping. Does Deno even compare to benchmarks in Bun? I think this question, it transpiles, Bun transpiles, not strips types. It compiles enums. Okay, yeah, it compiles enums, but that's not necessarily, okay, but it doesn't do type checking. Okay, so it does no type checking. It effectively strips types and builds things that are TypeScript specific features that require JS code. Am I saying that correctly? Yeah, when I said that, I meant that, yes, obviously enums, it builds this object out. Because enums they're not a JavaScript feature. So they are its own feature onto itself. And so they're not actually TypeScripting. They're stripping and building out any of the hard requirements, and that's it. Call the Bun guy. Okay, that's what I thought. They were doing that earlier. So it's like, so you're comparing, well, what's faster, Deno or Bun? I would say that most of the time that question is irrelevant for most people, in the sense that if you're having a cold startup on a serverless thing, it does have a large cost, and a large cost is all the startup that's required to get to the point. And obviously having a faster execution can really help. It's going to save some portion of that time, right? Because whenever you have a cold start, it's not free. It's not just simply the cost of running Bun, right? It's whatever extra overhead of getting to the point of running Bun or running Node that you can't get rid of. And then whatever this cost is can be adjusted. And maybe it's only this large, or maybe it's only this large. But you still have to get all that information. And at this point, you have to ask yourself, if you think, let's just say 30 milliseconds or whatever the cost is, the difference between them. If you think this 30 milliseconds, 50 milliseconds, 100 milliseconds is absolutely worth it on a cold start for your Lambdas, maybe choosing a different technology would be the way to go. So it kind of feels like if you're asking that question, which one is faster, which one can you save? If you're saving 30 more milliseconds being on one versus the other, perhaps you're just totally on the wrong island to begin with. At least that's how I kind of feel about the situation in its most general situation. Hey, thank you. Hey, Study in Scarlet, I appreciate that. And also, I hope that, oh, nice, look at that. What is this? Well, that's new. Well, thank you. We added one gifted sub to Scarlet's thing. I'd never even seen that before. Hey, appreciate that, Scarlet. Also, congratulations on the job raise. I did see that. I just couldn't. I didn't read it. But here, I'll read it now. So I was gonna read it at the end. Been watching your videos for nearly a year, and your enthusiasm really helped reignite my passion for coding after a slump. I felt pushed, learned more, and got a new job with 25,000 pounds. Wow. Raised off the back of it. Let's go. That's great. That's a lot of pounding. Finding your passion and honing your skills beats learned helplessness every time. Dude, it is such a true statement. I love it. Congratulations. I hope that you really feel absolutely out of control, happy, that you're able to find satisfaction in your work. Now, I don't think you can find meaning. I think you can find satisfaction. So I hope that you're able to find good satisfaction and you're able to really find something good out there and be able to wake up and be excited. And here's the deal. Half of excitement for a job does not come from the job itself. It comes from you accepting what the job is. If you can accept what the job is and be happy with what you have, you will find generally to be a happier person. Jobs always suck. When I worked at Netflix, there was plenty of things that just sucked. And so I hope that I just giving you a little bit of wisdom. When I learned to accept that my job is going to contain lots of things that I don't want to do, it just got easier. It just got a lot easier for me. So appreciate that. Right. Anyways, so yeah, I just tried to learn how to enjoy things. Yeah, I hate meetings too, Bisco. Hey, thank you for the added. That's cool. That adds a little. Look at that little twitch. Look at that twitch. That's kind of cool. Code Girl, thank you for the 5. Look at that little twitch. That's kind of neat. And thank you, Nothrad. I appreciate that. All right, here's a 10 gifter. Thank you, Excelion. Oh, it added 2. We added 2 gifted subs and a bonus 2 gifted subs. Whoa, that's 4 gifted subs. Let's go, Excelion. Appreciate that. That's wild. What is that? September. Oh, it's September. Gift to your favorite streamers. Why does JS not cache compiled files? Compiled files, I'm not sure if compiled files are bigger in the end. Because, you have a lot of bytecode operations that you're going to have to turn it into. And so I'm not sure if sending things down can actually be that. Hey, thank you again for this. I appreciate that. Oh, my goodness. That's very nice. Look at that. What is this? What is September? What is this yapper? Why are we yapping? What is this yapping? Thank you, Mixer. All right, let's keep on going. All right, Flip, you're going to have to come all the way back here. You're going to have to take out a lot of stuff.
Node and NPM. Like, check this out. I have a basic API written in Express.js in plain JavaScript.
Yeah.
One easy way to take advantage of Deno right away is to run lint, which will have it scan my code and tell me what sucks about it. You can forget about ESLint, or run Deno format and forget about prettier.
By the way, that is great. That is so good. I mean, I still think I constantly just think about the null ls person. This is something I have thought about entirely too much in my life, is this repository was archived due to how awful it is attempting to map all these different linters that are bolted onto languages and all these different formatters that are bolted onto languages against the language itself and the different language servers and all that. It is such a pain in the ass, and it really should be just handled by a singular thing. Honestly, the real truth should be that formatting and prettier should just be done via TypeScript server. And that way you just have one single thing, because every language server actually comes with the command format. Right? It just comes with the format command. Like, why? Why not? Why not just do it? Why not just do the thing? Anyways, the community fork of null ls is thriving, though. Yeah, the community fork of null ls is thriving, but just think about the guy who gave up null ls because nobody was helping at the time and felt overwhelmed and just full of difficulty in life. Like, that's hard. It feels hard. Yeah, that was sad. Yeah, it feels hard. Yeah, it feels bad. Yeah, it feels bad, man. There is no precedent to do it in the LSP. There is plenty. There's, I think Rust. I think Rust does it in the LSP. There is a format command. Lua vim lsp dot format. I know there is a format somewhere in here. Yeah, there's like a range format. Yeah, buff format. There you go. Formats the buffer using the attached and optionally filtered language server clients. So if your language server client provides formatting, you can do that. And I bet you if you go format LSP Microsoft Docs, you'll actually find the official. I know there will be some sort of thing that actually supports it internally. Anyways, whatever. Also, don't make format matters configurable. I know that's such a hard one because I totally agree with this statement, but I also hate you for that statement. Yeah, I also hate you for the statement, and I completely agree with you at the exact same time.
Or better yet, I can start writing better code by switching to TypeScript by simply changing the file extension to .ts. Then instead of npm run, I use Deno run, and the code runs perfectly without having to mess around with a ts config. And Deno also forces us to give the script proper permissions to access the network. That's pretty cool.
It was pretty funny. By the way, does this stick around, or do you have to do it every single time? Is there like a Deno something that says that you have this? Is this like a Deno thing that does exist? Why would configurability be bad? Configurability is bad in the sense that if you have a formatter, everyone like the ideal, like this is the Go formatting rule, which is that Go format simply formats all code at all times. That's it. Whereas it just has one styling. Everybody hates it, but everybody thinks it's better than anything else, right? It's just a single standardization. So every code you look at, everything has the exact same spacing and all that. I think Rust does something very similar. It has some basic options you can tweak, but it's mostly just like this. Twitch is giving subs. Yes, Twitch is giving subs right now. I did not know that. And so I think that's the argument. Let's configure the standard. Yeah. Shouldn't it be like that, though? The hard part is, like, I hate Go's formatting. I want my formatting, okay? And this is why it's so dang hard. Because I agree with the statement, and I also hate it completely.
Forces us to give the script proper permission.
Oh, yeah, by the way, do you have to do this every time, or does it actually save it off to some sort of file? Does anyone know? I haven't used Deno. Because this would be super annoying if I had to learn all of the little commands. Dash, dash this, dash, dash that, dash, or if it just has to ask you every time. Yeah, CLI flags. Deno-A. Well, capital A doesn't count. Okay.
To access the network. That's pretty cool, but Deno 2 now also fully understands the package JSON file, and it can work with mono repos using NPM workspaces. And that's huge if you're someone who wants to use Deno, but you'll never escape the technical debt of your existing project, because now you can run Deno install, and it works with every package and meta framework like Next.js, Svelte, and so on. But you should also know that Deno has its own package registry called JSR, where every package on there natively supports TypeScript. But one of the main goals of the runtime is for you to install fewer packages, because you don't need any more packages in your node modules folder mining Bitcoin or holding your machine for ransom. In Deno 2, the standard...
You also forgot that I forget which one. If you are in Russia, delete home directory, npm install. Yeah. There you go. If you had a Russian or Belarus IP and you installed this project, it would delete your home directory. Like, I get that we can say we do not like what Russia's done, but man, just deleting every last Russian's home directory that npm installed, like, I I'm not sure if I really am on that team. That doesn't feel like a good team to be on. Right? Yeah, it's cyber warfare. It's vigilante warfare, which is a very strange form of warfare. It's just a strange... Oh, hold on. Someone's spamming. Sorry. Here, sorry about that. Yusuf, unfortunately, I don't... Yeah, sorry, my bad. My fault on that one. I did not see that. Plus, you saw that my chat wasn't updating. My fault. Every now and then, YouTube chat, it just like fully freezes, and there's nothing I can do with it. Like, I don't know. I didn't even know that was. Bro got deleted on stream. Yeah, delete him. Flip, keep it in. Let him know. Dude, spamming is annoying. Just don't spam. Don't be a dick. It's just, no one likes that, okay? Just feel a little bit, you're a little bit older in life. You're now an adult, or at least you have an adult-shaped body. Try to live up to at least that, Your
library is fully stable and eliminates the need for tools like Jest for testing, Chalk for CLI formatting, or Lodash for utilities.
That is great. I love this idea of finally adding an effing standard to JavaScript. This has been needed well beyond a decade at this point. The problem is you can't wait for a standards committee in this specific case. You just simply need to be like, you know what, we need to do it. Someone needs to do it, just do it. I'm glad they did it.
Just to name a few of the STDs you can get here. The amount of mental boilerplate you end up removing with Deno is pretty staggering, but it also has some more exotic commands that you'll want to know about. Like Deno compile can take your JavaScript code and turn it into a binary that runs on Mac OS, Windows, or Linux, allowing you to LARP as a compiled language programmer. What's even cooler though is that Deno has integrated the Jupyter kernel from the Python ecosystem, a tool that allows developers to create interactive notebooks where you execute code block by block. That's never really caught on in the JavaScript world, but now that you can just run Deno Jupyter, that might change in the future. Now, I know I've been doing a lot of shilling, and this video is not sponsored, but...
That's super cool. I always loved the idea of Jupyter, because I love the idea of just being able to select out various parts of your code, and just be like, okay, I got this thing right. Let's do the next thing. Okay, I got this thing right. Let's do the next thing. Like, I really liked that part of Jupyter. That was super cool. Okay, so this is actually a pretty good changer, right? Especially if you're using it to write basically one-off scripts for stuff. Jupyter is good. Yeah, I used to use it years ago. I actually want to go back through a Python phase and really get into this.
In the future. Now, I know I've been doing a lot of shilling, and this video is not sponsored, but what are the actual drawbacks of switching from Node to Deno? Well, prior to version 2, its number one weakness was the Node NPM compatibility, but now that that's a thing of the past, I'm having a hard time coming up with bad things to say about it. It's free and open source, although it's maintained by a for-profit company that wants to sell you hosting and things like that. In contrast, Node is part of the OpenJS Foundation and supported by tons of big companies, which is essential if you're an enterprise, but Deno is just now rolling out its own long-term support schedule. But if you guys don't buy their hosting, the company might run out of money and Ryan Dahl will have to move on to his next project, Odin, the Node.js Deno killer, and then on to Endo after that. And he'll keep doing that until he reaches the final anagram of done. This has been the Code Report. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
Is that the PlayStation 1 demo dinosaur? No, that's too nice. That can't be it. That can't be it. It looks like the PlayStation 1 demo dinosaur when you got with the PlayStation 1 demo disc. Done. That's pretty good. That was pretty good. I want to try Deno. The thing is I want to try Deno, but I have to have a reason to use Deno. But I don't really have a reason to use Deno. The reason is because it's not fucking Node.js. Yeah, but that's... What happens if I don't have a reason to use Node.js either? Right, like... I have to first need the reason to use JavaScript on the back end. And then from there, go into the next level, which is which subvariant flavor of JavaScript do I want to use? I think that's really what I'm struggling with, which is I've been trying Rust extensions for Deno. Yeah. I mean, that's great and all again. That's great and all. I've just been on, okay, I've also been doing I've been doing a year of Go. I really have enjoyed my year of Go. And it's hard for me to want to go back because I also just don't enjoy JavaScript. Whenever I want to do something small, I always find that Python can just do the small thing in significantly less characters. Like, I feel like JavaScript just is a very verbose language for being very not verbose. It's really weird. What about 2025? I don't know what I'm doing for 2025. I just, it's verbose for nothing. Yeah, it's hard to explain why. I think JavaScript is one of the most beautiful languages. It's so simple and easy to use. I love its object syntax. You don't have to use quotes for keys. Like, there's a lot of things to really appreciate about JavaScript. Yet somehow it always ends up being, I don't know. It just feels weird. I don't know how to, I don't know how to explain it other than that. Agree, yeah, but it belongs on the client. Yeah, it belongs on the. It's just weird. So you think you're wicked smart, huh? You wicked smart. I genuinely think you should try running with C# for a year. It's a pretty nice language still. Yeah, no, I'm sure I'd like C#, but I almost don't know if I want to do that for a year. Anyways, this was great. I liked Deno. Maybe if I have to do a Node project, I'll do my next one in Deno. I just feel like I need to do more Python, right? I just need to use more Python. I feel like that's the thing I just need to do because I have never really done Python to any sort of reasonably good level. Anyways, just a thought. Just a thought. I don't know. The name is the Pythonogen.